Sidewinder Graphics is who you go to for all your vinyl and decal needs.
They offer custom vinyl, vehicle decals, wall decor, window decals, stickers, and even yard signs.
Carly Holt is a local race car driver and specializes in race car decals and race car lettering. He also does semis, mopeds, skateboards, bicycles. If it's got wheels, Carly can letter it.
You can contact Sidewinder Graphics by Facebook, or you can visit the Dana and Travis Show's Facebook page, and we will provide links.
That's Sidewinder Graphics. Hey, this is Dana from the Dana and Travis Show. We'd like to thank all of our loyal fans, and if you have any suggestions or ideas for future show topics, you can email us at danaandtravisshow@gmail.com, or you can contact us on Facebook or Twitter. Hope you enjoy the show.
You're listening to a Collapsar Digital Studios production.
Live from Bloomfield, Indiana, you're listening to the Dana and Travis Show.
Greetings and well wishes. I'm Dana,
And I'm Travis.
broadcasting to you live from Collapsar Digital Studios in Bloomfield, Indiana, bringing forth the knowledge of the universe in 60 minutes.
We hope you enjoy the show.
All right, welcome to the Dana and Travis Show, episode 11. Travis, buddy, how's it going?
It's going great. It's good to have you back.
Hey, it's good to be back. Making my triumphant return from the dark continent of Africa.
Yeah, but we didn't put out any podcast while you were gone, so
I know,
it's not like you were ever gone.
Yeah, but it seems like it's been forever. Which I know for our all of our fans out there, I know they've been waiting on another podcast. So here it is.
And I'd like to say I apologize to everyone. I had some podcasts lined up, but it just I had some technical difficulties.
Those things happen, but we're back now, and maybe we can get another one maybe after this a little bit quicker than usual to kind of make up. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll get there. We got some business first. First and foremost, you can find us on Facebook. You can contact us on Twitter, and you can also send us some suggestions, or you can ask, or just contact us in general by email at danaandtravisshow@gmail.com.
All right, yeah, we'd love to hear from you guys. So give us a shout and let us know if there's anything that you want to hear about in the future.
Oh, and while we're on the subject of emails, I'd like everyone to give yourself a little golf clap.
Hey, all right, yes, you guys are awesome. We made our 100 likes.
Yeah, it's 100 likes, 100 likes. That's 100 people. That's at least somehow aware of our show, and it's good. It's good to have a little milestone. So our next one will probably be 200.
Yeah, and I think are we like at 109 likes or something like that?
108.
108. Cool.
Yeah, which is great because last week we didn't have 100 yet. So we'd like to thank all of you, and if you are a new listener to the show, we welcome you with open arms.
Definitely.
Yeah, and in here on the show, we'd like to talk about a bunch of different things, but anyway. So as promised, I said when we got to 100 likes, we'd do something special for all of you. And I've already put a Facebook post up, and I did say that we were going to start an email list. And by that, I'm going to need all of you to send us your email address in our by Facebook message.
Now, how's that going to work? So they send the email to us, and then...
Yes, so from there, I gather all the emails, and every week when we do the podcast, after I get it all mixed down and everything, I'm going to send an MP3 of that week's show to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go, delivered right to your mailbox. The Dana and Travis Show in MP3 form.
Yeah, so you can put it on your iPod. You can put it on your iPhone. It's not. I mean, you have to do a little bit of work with the computer, but it should be easy sailing.
Yeah, it should be pretty simple and pain free. Just download it onto whatever electronic device you have and
open it into iTunes.
Yeah, you can listen to it in your car on the way to work, or at night if you're just chilling in the evenings. You can sit there and listen to maybe bits and pieces of it, or I think it'll be good.
Yeah, it'll be good. And also, I just haven't had much time to consult Dad about it, but I decided that I think it'd be cool to have a newsletter of our own show.
I think that would be cool, and we can maybe add some special features that we don't normally cover on the actual show.
Yeah, it'll be neat. What I'm thinking is, we have like a little section where it's like we have a monthly album review, or what to watch on Netflix, and
even
stuff like that.
Upcoming events, concerts,
Stuff at the Comedy Attic. Yeah, it'd be keep you all informed. If nothing else, you can stay updated on the life of Dana and Travis.
Yes, and again, that will also show up in your email.
Yeah.
Our monthly newsletter. So we'll have to see what we can get going on that.
Yeah. So everyone send us your email addresses by Facebook message. It'd be a lot easier to do it that way. So do that. Email to Facebook message.
Okay.
Awesome. Now I think we're going to talk about your trip.
Africa. We can do that.
All right. So here we go. The main topic of the night.
And now, the Dana and Travis Show presents the main topic of the night.
Yeah, so Africa was an awesome trip. I went into it really not knowing quite what to expect. I was actually expecting, the worst, as far as, any problems or, unforeseen circumstances that might come up. But, unbelievably, it went off without a hitch. Not a glitch, hiccup, or nothing. Smooth sailing. I couldn't have done it any better if I'd have tried.
Well, that is awesome. You and I both know from experience that it's always good to have things go glitch free.
Yeah, and luckily I've been very fortunate in that area, and like I said, Africa was no different. Cape Town was very European, not like you would really, think of Africa in general, but before I left, the whole Ebola thing was really, becoming more and more of a headline. And we flew from Washington, D.C. out of Dulles to Senegal, which is right there in Ebola country.
All right, and how long was that flight?
I think to Senegal, from Dulles to Johannesburg was, I think, actually like 17 hours.
Whew.
Then I had like a 12-hour layover, and then a 2-hour flight from Johannesburg to Cape Town the next day. So it was like a 30-hour voyage to get over there, for the most part.
Yeah, and you and I know at least I know what it's like to be on the plane for about 10 hours.
The flight was pretty brutal. I mean, I was originally going to just kind of camp out in the airport in Johannesburg.
Yeah, I was going to say, you changed plans on us.
Yeah, I got there, and I'm like, no, I'm going to find a room somewhere. So what I did, I found an airport person that was looking to make a little bit of extra money and help out some poor, ignorant American, and slip him a few bucks, and he hooked me up.
All right. Okay, well, let's get into this a little bit more details. All right, so you're in Johannesburg, and you get in your little hotel area, and I know you said that you're pretty much just going there to take a nap and get cleaned up and kind of get your bearings.
Get my bearings, but you know what? After all that time on a plane, I was starved.
Okay, yes. All right, so what'd you do for food?
Well, I got my stuff to the room, and I went back to the airport, to the little food court area, and I found this little shop that had fish and chips.
All right, yeah.
And of course,
Love fish and chips.
You know how we are with fish and chips.
Oh,
there we go.
delicious.
So and I'm just getting there, and I'm kind of looking at the prices and the different, meals they had, and I didn't want just a piece of fish and some fries. I wanted, like maybe 2 or 3 pieces of fish, and then a large order of fries, and
So what did you end up getting?
I got enough stinking food to feed an army, and I don't know how much I really paid for it. I just know they just kept handing me bags and wrapped up piles of stuff. And
and how was it?
It was the most obnoxious, terrible gobs of goo I had ever had.
It was so
life.
bad it was obnoxious. The food annoyed him.
Yeah, and I sit there and I'm like, man, I can't even carry all this stuff back to my room. I'm going to have to eat some of it here and kind of get it to a manageable size.
Well, and I know you said that it ended up being atrocious and it was bad.
It was not Ireland fish and chips.
Or even American fish and chips.
No. So it's funny because so I have a little bit there at the airport. I'm like, I'm drinking out of a 2-liter bottle of orange soda.
Was it club soda?
It wasn't club soda. I think it was actually Fanta, but it was good.
Oh, that's good. All right, so you're there at the airport.
Yeah, and I go back. So I go back to the room, and I've got all this food. I get into the elevator, and this one gentleman's in there with me. And of course, it stinks to high heaven of fish. And the guy goes, "I got some fish, huh?" Yeah. And I get to the room. My room smelled like fish. I finally just took the bag out of the waste can, and I tied it up, and I threw it all away.
Oh, did you throw it outside?
No, I put it. It was sealed up in a plastic bag in the waste can.
Oh, so you still smelled a fish.
Well, it didn't smell quite as bad, but it was very fishy smelling.
All right, so you go and you get some sleep and you get cleaned up. So now you're on your way to Gansby.
Yeah, actually.
Or Cape Town.
Yeah, initially to Cape Town, and of course I get off the airplane in Cape Town, and I'm looking around for my ride, and I see this guy standing there with my name on a piece of paper. He's my shuttle driver.
There you go. You made it. You get your name on a piece of paper.
I'm like, hey, that's me. And so we get in his car, and he drives me downtown into Cape Town to find my hostel. Get to the hostel, and it was pretty similar to the Ireland hostels. I think the first room that I had was an 8-person room, and got my stuff put away, and I wasn't there really probably an hour. Then I got me a cab, and I went straight down to the waterfront. I was ready to see some Africa.
Yeah, and from what people saw on Facebook, so you ran into some like African musicians.
Yeah, it was like down at the waterfront. Of course, it was very touristy, and there were street performers, and some of the traditional African street performers doing their thing with the drums and stuff. And it was pretty cool. It was, give it a nice ambiance, just, you're here in Africa.
To take in Africa, yeah.
African music, is good.
Awesome. All right, well, I don't know much about what you were doing from there, so just take us through. We don't have much time, but I guess you can just try to get through whatever you can.
And just
hit the highlights.
Okay, so Cape Town, I really just that was kind of my base of operations. I was actually only in Cape Town for actually 3 days. So, the first 4 days. The first 2 days I was there, I took a trip through the townships on my second day in Cape Town.
All right, yeah. What you run into there?
The townships were basically the slums, and because I didn't get in there till later on in the afternoon the day before, all the good tours were taken, so the township tours were available. So I'm like, okay, I'll go to the townships. So my guide for the townships, whose name was Chipa, he took me through the townships, and he was kind of my go-to guy for that. And basically, we just kind of walked through the slums, and you couldn't imagine the poverty, but everybody was really happy, and they, I guess, they were happy with their circumstances, even if they were, dirt poor.
Well, I know you said that that their poverty is unlike what you've witnessed in the past. You know, like in Nepal. You even said it's possibly even worse.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't really anything like the poor areas of Nepal. Um, in the townships, a lot of I guess they have, of course, a lot of their little shacks are made out of plywood and lots of really combustible things. And I guess they had a big fire come through one time and burn a bunch of their housing down. So the government brought in shipping containers, which I don't know if you
like cargo ships.
Yeah, like the metal shipping containers, and they cut a door and a window out, and which is is sturdy and it doesn't burn. But in the summertime, it would be like living in a
hot box.
A hot box, and in the wintertime, of course, there was absolutely no insulation. It was extremely cold in the winter, extremely hot in the summer. But one of the coolest things, and I went. There was this one section of all pubs, and they were like local pubs, and so I go into me and Chipa go into this one pub, which I don't know if everybody saw the three gentlemen that I posted the picture of on Facebook.
Yeah, the real like a calendar picture.
It was such a cool picture. So I sit down with these guys in their little dirt floor pub, and they was brewing beer, and and it takes them about 4 days to run off a batch of beer.
Yeah,
and they just when they get it done, they put it in a bucket, and then everybody drinks out of the bucket.
Oof.
Yeah, so
I'd be afraid.
So not wanting to offend them, I kind of took me a little bit of their home brewed beer, and it kind of had an apple taste to it. It wasn't the best beer I've ever tasted by no means, but it was okay, and they was happy to see Mr. American sit down and drink a beer with them.
Yeah, we're also going to get to that. I think Dana's new nickname from now on is Mr. American.
Ah, Mr. American!
Yeah, I mean, that just kind of fits you. You're Mr. American.
I think it was the shorts when I was in Gansby.
Yeah. Well, you have Captain America. No, you're Mr. American.
Mr. American.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. So you tried some of their home brewed beer.
And it was good. And
it seemed like they enjoyed it. Small area, small space.
Yeah, and lots of Mini Coopers cruising around.
Really?
Yeah, I was surprised that there was more Mini Coopers in South Africa than Ireland.
Wow.
And I seen some pretty cool ones too. Some of them that I really appreciated.
All right. Well, take us on to the next big thing.
Yeah, we are kind of limited for time, so I hang out in Cape Town for a couple days, shoot down on a shuttle to Gansby, which is about 2 hours on down the coast. Which if I know Shark Week was on, and if you see anything with Shark Week, Gansby is the place in Africa for sharks. You've got Dyer Island, which is a huge seal colony. I think at any one time there can be up to like 300,000 seals on this little patch of real estate.
That's a lot of seals.
Yeah, and of course that's the McDonald's for sharks. They go through the drive-through and pick them up a seal and off you go. But I get to my guest house, and I could not have met or had the most awesome people. Hendrik and Annette Krugel. They had a guest house that was in like 5 minutes walking distance from where we loaded onto the shark diving boat. A pretty modest home, but I could throw a rock into the ocean from my little balcony. And they would bring me in, fix me meals, take me out. Cruising around, if I need to run to the store or, do this or that, or we go whale watching. And
so they were very homey.
They were extremely homey, very good Christian people.
Interesting.
Yeah, and of course they were white, South Africans, Afrikaners, I guess is kind of what they call themselves. Of course, their last name is Krugel with a K, and sometimes they would get to speak in this. It sounded German to me, and I asked them finally when they were kind of talking amongst themselves, and I asked if that was German. They said, no, it's Afrikaans, which, initially South Africa was colonized by the Dutch, which is kind of a German, heritage. So I'm assuming that Afrikaans is a slang dialogue of the German language. But
I see.
kind of similar, but not quite the same. So, I get there, and the view, the room, it was just beautiful. Very nice accommodations for Gone By.
Well, they even rose an American flag for you.
Yeah, every time they rent out their rooms, they run up whatever nationality you are, your country's flag outside, and I thought that was a very nice touch.
Yeah, that's just, to me, that's respect of the highest,
Yeah, and it was one of the first things I noticed whenever I got there, and I told them, I said, "Man, that is so cool that you guys put up the American flag." And they said, "Yeah, we do that for everybody." So I spent the night there. Then the next day, of course, I went to the shark dive place. Actually, I initially went there first, actually, before my guest house, and I got to talk to them. And again, I hit a home run there too. Great White Shark Tours with Captain Brian McFarland, by far the best operator there. Super, super great people. Nice big boat, and all his employees were very knowledgeable and worked well with the tourists. See, most of the times when people go to, a lot of times if people go to Cape Town, they'll do like, I've done the township tours, and there's some safari type tours you can take that are day tours.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people go for just one day to the shark diving tour, and then they go back to Cape Town that same day.
Well, I know you.
Except for me.
Well, I know you were telling me that they asked you like what your plans were, and you're like, "I'm here all week." Shark diving, and they're like, "Really?"
Yeah, they couldn't believe that I was going to be like there for the whole week, and they're like, "And you're going to dive all week?" Yeah, that's what I come here for.
Yeah, so don't worry, everyone. We all know that you thought he was crazy. Well, they thought he was crazy too.
Yeah, they're like, okay, so.
All right, well, I guess we got you for the whole week.
Yeah, and finally, I was kind of a fixture on the boat there by the end of the week. They just kind of let me do my thing, and they was pretty cool. Mr. American, he's does his thing.
Yeah, Mr. American. But yeah, and I know that, so you had a good time. You posted a lot of really neat pictures and videos. And I think everyone can pretty much get the idea of what you were doing there.
Yeah, the pictures are pretty self-explanatory. We would go out. It was probably about a 30-minute boat ride out to the place where we stopped, just off of Dyer Island. And normally every day when we get there, we would drop the cage in the water, and then we would head out maybe a 5-minute, boat ride away from where the cage location is, and then start chumming. And then go back to the cage, so you're actually chumming, leaving a chum trail from wherever you're at back to the cage. So it's kind of a bread trail for the sharks to follow.
Yeah.
Back to the cage, and as soon as the sharks start showing up, then everybody goes into the cage, and you spend about 20 minutes or so each time you dive in the cage. But that's about as much time as you want because the water is so stinking cold. I think it was like 56 degrees.
Yeah, that's cold.
That's cold water. And after about 20 minutes of it, you're getting ready to come out, and once you get out in the sun, it's not so bad. But when you're sitting there bobbing up and down in that cold water, it's a different story. Most of the sharks, of course, they were all great whites, nothing else but great whites. Lengthwise, they ranged from the 6-foot range up to like the 10, maybe 11-foot range. Usually, that was the biggest group of sharks that we saw.
Well, I thought you said you possibly saw one that was about 16 feet.
At the very last day, this monster come in. Don't know if it was male or female. It was about 16 feet.
Wow, that is big.
I know I have one picture, the seal cut out, the foam seal.
Yeah, he's biting on it.
Yeah, and I know there's one picture of me holding the seal, and the seal itself is maybe about maybe a little over 2 feet long, and there was a picture of the seal cutout right beside this monster shark. And if you compare that seal cutout to the dorsal fin of that shark, the dorsal fin is bigger than the seal. So you're talking a dorsal fin of a great white about 2 feet.
Wow, and that's big for just a fin.
Yeah, that kind of gives you a ballpark of how big the shark is just by the size of the dorsal fin.
Wow.
But yeah, it was a monster.
All right.
But like I said, most of the sharks, weren't that, quite that big.
I see. Cool. Well, we're just trying to get a little bit more shoved in here. I'm sure we'll talk about this more later.
Yeah.
But talk about a little bit about your celebrity guest that you met.
Yeah. It just so happens, of course, I had the whole week there. I think I was going to have 6 days total, and there ended up being a couple of bad weather days where they had the last little blast of their winter come in, and then they was actually just kind of getting into early spring. But I had bad weather, so we couldn't go out diving because the gales and the swells the sea was really rough, and it just so happens the Krugels that owned the guest house were very good friends of this gentleman named Andre Hartman. And Andre Hartman was a character. He done an episode of Wild Boys with Steve-O and Chris Pontius, and he told me a couple stories about them. But the 2 days that I had off kind of free, he would actually come over to the Krugels' house, and we'd sit there by the fireplace and talk snakes and sharks all day.
That's cool. And like I said, you always find the coolest people.
Yeah, and Andre Hartman was he says the first man to ever free dive with a great white, which by free diving, you're in the water without a cage with the sharks. He would actually grab their dorsal fins.
You grab them by the mouth too.
Yeah, that was in the boat. Yeah, he only done that from the boat, but yeah, he would like ride on the sharks, hold on to their fin. He said their fins have no feelings, so they don't know you're there. So as long as you just kind of go along with them, they do their thing. But I feel like after, the shark diving experience, the people with the Great White Shark Tours and Captain McFarland, I had coffee every morning with the first mate, Hurt with a G actually, and he would come over because he was friends with the Krugels also. So it was just like this really intensive shark course that I took, and now I feel like I've been, I should have a degree in shark now, I think.
Well, hey, that's what I think you were hoping for in the very end.
That's what I was going for, and but yeah, Andre Hartman though, very cool to talk to. He's elderly now. He's had a couple of strokes, and he doesn't get around the best. And he seems to me. I think he really enjoyed talking sharks with somebody that would listen to him tell all of his tales. So, and I was glad to hear it. So it worked out both ways. There's so many things that he's not able to do now that he did before, and having such a the wild adventurous life that he had. And of course now, like I said, with the strokes, I think he kind of misses this. So he was really happy to sit down and watch a couple of Discovery shows that he helped out with, and he done shows with the BBC. And if you see any Shark Week at all, probably somewhere in there you'll see Andre Hartman.
Well, that is so cool. Like I said, you could be the most interesting man. You're Mr. American.
Mr. American.
That could be your TV show, Mr. American.
Yeah. So and I ended up salvaging. I wasn't gonna initially dive on the last day because I was supposed to take the shuttle back in the afternoon, but it just so happens that they were able to sneak me in that very last day. Which was, the day that the great big 16-footer come in. Beautiful weather. Water clarity was about 4 to 5 feet because with the storms had the water kind of churned up.
Yeah.
But, so I actually only missed one day.
Well,
So,
that's not too bad.
not bad. It was, figuring. And actually, there was one day that Captain McFarland's boat and another boat went out, and nobody else was able to go out because their boats were just too small for the conditions. They told me Captain McFarland didn't, but the people I stayed with said that about 3 years ago, there was actually one of the shark diving boats capsized and 3 people died.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I think it was 2 Norwegians and an American. And of course the American is suing. But it wasn't anything, there was no negligence involved. It was just really rough seas. And maybe the boat was a little bit too small for the conditions, but just kind of a freak thing. It ended up capsizing. The 3 people drowned, and I think like the widow of one of the American that drowned was suing actually. But like anything else, like most other things I do, you have to sign a paper that says you know that what you're getting ready to do is dangerous, and you accept all responsibility.
And that's what you have to do.
Whether you're mountain climbing or
Shark diving or whatever. Okay, before we have to go to our break, tell us a little bit about your safari.
The safari, after the cage diving, I took the shuttle back to Cape Town and was able to do a few more things in Cape Town. Then the next day, back up early again onto the Aquila Safaris, which was about another 2 hours away from Cape Town. Very ritzy, nice place.
Yeah. Tell them a little bit about what your accommodation, where you stayed.
Initially, I was supposed to stay out in the in the game preserve, in this like a small hut thing, but they had an issue with the rhinos. The rhinos kept coming close to the huts and getting in the shade, by the buildings, so they were having trouble getting people out of the huts. So I ended up staying in this real nice chalet.
And what do you mean by nice? The pictures, it's nice.
It was
it's a nice.
I think a week or two before I arrived there, Penelope Cruz, United States actress, was there.
Yeah, and after looking at the place, of course she was there, because you were staying at seriously like a it was beautiful.
It was the equivalent of a 5-star whatever. It was nice.
Oh yeah, like you see the crystal blue pool. That's
which one?
It was which
it was
one?
The small pool, and there's the nice pool.
Yeah, the place it just looked very classy.
Yeah, it was that place was originally a sheep ranch, and a person come in and bought it and turned it into a wild game preserve. I think they said actually, of course, again, even in this part of Africa, there was a lot of unemployment and just a lot of poverty. But they come in and changed it from a sheep ranch to a game preserve, started bringing in animals. I think they said that they employed like 250 people in the area, which is a big deal because there's some vineyards. That's big wine country in that area. So there probably are some people that that like in the agricultural industry, working in the vineyards, picking grapes and such. But other than that, there's not a whole lot of other things there. So the game preserve, once it arrived, it provided a lot of economic relief to the community. So that was great.
Well, that's cool. And I want you to touch on this a little bit. Well, I know that you said that you were slightly disappointed with your safari.
Well, I won't say disappointed.
The context, which is understandable, of why you were slightly disappointed.
I kind of felt bad because there were fences. Of course, they had the carnivores, which were the lions, basically. They have leopards there, but it was my understanding that the leopards actually just kind of come and went as they please, and they couldn't really corral the leopards. And they're there naturally anyways. There really aren't lions indigenously in that area. So the 5 or 6 lions they had really wouldn't normally be there. But they had them separated from the antelopes and the wildebeest and all them.
The eland.
And the eland, yeah. So until the populations of the antelopes and those other food items get bigger, they kept them separated from the lions. The lions are still able to hunt stuff. There was like some mountain sheep that come in and out that they would actually hunt and kill. But I just, whenever we went out and saw the lions, of course everybody we went on like a bus kind of a thing, a big truck, open sided, and everybody was jumping out of their seats taking pictures of the lions, and I kind of felt bad because I just really wasn't that impressed with the lions because I'm used to lions. They're not a big thing to me. I see lions all the time.
Yeah, you see lions behind a fence all the time.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, what's it? Oh, it's a lion. Look at it. Yeah, there it is. It's a lion. Okay.
But it doesn't mean that you don't.
Not that I didn't appreciate it, but it just wasn't anything new to me. Of course, the elephants and the rhino and those those animals, the giraffes.
Well, I think the biggest turnoff was probably the fences for you. And
yeah, I mean, and if you go like into equatorial Africa or more to the north, in the Kenya, Uganda, Botswana, they're more in their natural habitat there, and you can actually go out and camp in the middle of Kruger National Forest or National Park, and maybe have a lion stroll through your camp in the middle of the night. This wasn't that type of place.
Well, I even know at Disney at the Animal Kingdom, the safari thing they have there. I know I saw it. I saw a documentary on that. The way they actually keep the animals in there, they know that fences are turnoffs to people because it doesn't look natural.
Yeah, and this place here.
So they have like rocks and different things set up, so they are barriers,
rocks and water barriers, or put them on an island or whatever.
Yeah. So it looks like they're kind of free, but they're not.
Yeah, and the Aquila Safaris was very similar to probably Disney Animal Kingdom.
Okay.
It's pretty similar. It's closer to that than probably anything else.
Well, it's still cool, and
But
I bet you still enjoyed yourself.
it was still great, and it was nice after bobbing up and down in 56-degree water all week and jumping off of planes and buses and shuttles. It was nice to kick back and relax for a few days.
Well, that's good. Well, all right. I think we're gonna take a little break, and we're gonna stop from there.
Maybe later on I can talk more. There's so many stories I can give you. And I got.
Yeah, you just skimmed the very top froth.
So maybe it's at a later date I can give you some more insight, but
maybe the next podcast we'll go into a little bit more.
Yeah, but in a nutshell though, bottom line was it was a great trip. I met some amazing, very nice people. The sharks were awesome. I can check that one off my bucket list, and get ready for the next one.
Yeah, now you gotta find your next trip.
I've got that one cooking right now, so it's in the early stages, but it's there.
Well, awesome. Well, all right, everyone, we'll be right back after this.
And now the news.
All right, everyone. Before we get into the news, we're gonna check in with the sponsor. We got Sidewinder Graphics.
Yes, Sidewinder Graphics. They do a lot of T-shirt and vinyl work. They also do license plates. Very good work. Highly recommend them if you need anything done. If you have a business, any advertising, or if you have any vehicles that you want lettered. They also do home decor. They do a lot of kids' rooms, parents that want to make theme rooms for their kids. Get a hold of Sidewinder Graphics, and they can hook you up.
Yep, visit our Facebook page and find the link that we have provided there for his Facebook page at Sidewinder Graphics.
All right, so we got some news topics. Travis, what have you got for us tonight with the news?
Well, all right. We got Iron Mike Tyson back in the news.
Oh man, is the cartoon still going on?
It should be.
We talked about a couple episodes ago. Cartoon Network was going to have a Mike Tyson cartoon, but so it's not cartoon related. So what about Mike?
Well, he's of course Mike Tyson. He's always kind of quirky, and he that's just the kind of person he is. Well, he is hooked up with a new guy.
Hey, you know what else about Mike Tyson?
What?
If you get to talking to him, he'll just chew your ear off.
Well, I know.
I mean, talk your ear off.
Oh, that was so funny.
Okay.
Okay. Well, he's picked a new person to hang around with, and that is Mayor Rob Ford.
Oh, the Toronto mayor.
Yeah, Toronto Mayor Rob Ford.
The one that looks like Chris Farley.
Yeah, he's cool. Have you seen some of the videos of him lately?
Oh, yeah. He's trying to salvage whatever he can right now.
Did you see the reggae band he brought into the town hall thing?
No.
He brought in a reggae band, and he's up there dancing to this reggae band, and everyone's kind of snapping their fingers.
Oh gosh.
But anyway, well, Rob Ford has made friends with Mike Tyson, and so Mike Tyson went on to a news channel, a Canadian news channel, and he was interviewed with him and his I'm assuming probably his publicist or manager. Well, but the anchor asked him the wrong question.
Yeah, and I watched the video, and that was kind of a he was being a jerk.
Well, we got a clip of it right here. So,
Cool.
So here we go.
Some of your critics would say, there's a race for mayor. We know you're a convicted rapist. This could hurt his campaign. How would you respond to that?
Hey, I don't know who said that. You don't even know I heard say that. You know what I mean? And I don't have no comment to that, because it's negative, and you're being negative. And I met the man. So interesting that you come across like a nice guy, but you're really a piece of
Hey,
with that
come
comment.
On,
no, that was a piece of That was a piece of
we're doing live TV.
Hey, I don't care. What are you gonna do about it?
All right, what are you gonna do
about it?
Well,
You piece of.
well, he had some choice words for him. He called him, "You're a rat piece of S word."
You're a rat piece of.
But
oh geez, you're a convicted rapist. Oh, thanks for reminding me.
yeah, well,
Which he has always denied that he raped the girl. So.
but maybe he didn't do it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wasn't there. You weren't there. I mean, him and that chick was there in his hotel room at 3:00 in the morning. Huh? What did we think goes on at 3:00 in the morning?
Yeah, I mean, who knows what was going on? I mean, and Mike Tyson's Mike Tyson. I mean, you shouldn't. I mean, he bites people's ears off for a living. So, I mean, talks people's ears off.
And raises pigeons.
Yeah, drunk pigeons. But anyway, so
I don't know when. Of course, Rob Ford, the Toronto mayor, he's up for re-election. He's actually still the mayor, up for re-election. I'm not sure when their elections are, but yeah, Mike just wants to help him out and campaign for him.
which Mike Tyson claims that he is clean and sober, and and Rob Ford just got out of his rehab that he went through. What if Rob Ford? What if Mike Tyson's his sponsor? They're trying to keep each other clean.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they obviously both have some things in their past that aren't real flattering. And everybody knows. Everybody knows Rob Ford. He's been on the news for the last 6 months.
Yeah, he said some pretty
Pretty
vulgar things.
Yeah.
On live television.
Yeah, and Tyson is Tyson. I think it's a nice match. I think they complement each other very well.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, I mean, you can think what you want about Mike Tyson. I personally think he's a cool guy. I mean, that's assuming that he's not a rapist. I like that Mike Tyson. I like the one that that is trying to leave that in the past.
Well, and like I said,
this news anchor is not doing anyone any favors. He was doing like what Mike said. He was being negative. Why can't he be like, "Hey, Mike, it's good to see you here and good to see you cleaned up." Instead of that, no, he had to go.
Yeah,
he had to go dark.
Past, yeah.
Yeah,
So
he had to go.
I don't blame Mike Tyson a bit for putting the guy in his place. He had it coming. The guy's just lucky he didn't.
He didn't punch him.
Yeah.
Like he would have done to Steve-O.
And I didn't realize it. And of course, Mike Tyson is 48 years old, which he's pretty much my age. And I remember back when he was on top and the heavyweight champion of the world. But he, of course, he didn't have much of a family life growing up. Mike Tyson is Mike Tyson, and for whatever conditions he was raised. He's probably done pretty well. I think the boxing community kind of took advantage of him because he was basically
He was unstoppable.
Well, he was unstoppable, but also he was, and I'm trying to pick my words correctly here. He was, for the most part, when he got famous, a pretty uneducated young black man who all of a sudden was on top of the world. And, obviously he had troubles at the time dealing with that,
Well, yeah, but
And a lot of people in the boxing community, I think, kind of preyed upon him in that respect.
well, and I think that happens a lot, with any type of sports. I mean, I think that's what happens to a lot of people. They just get in over their heads, and they.
And like I said, and he had no real parents that were able to guide him growing up. I don't think. Boxing was his, what he fell back on as a child.
Well, and he was good at it.
Yeah.
And I mean, in the history of boxing, I mean, who do you think? When it comes to boxing, Mike Tyson's in the top 3.
Yeah,
if not number 1.
And when he was on top, he was Iron Mike, and you couldn't hurt him. You could hit him all day long and not hurt him.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to the most famous boxers, you have Muhammad Ali, you have Mike Tyson, and there was this other guy. He actually collectively had more wins than Muhammad Ali. He actually he was around the same time.
Joe Frazier, George Foreman. They were all. But
this guy
they were kind of the old school boxers, and then you got like Tyson, Holyfield, Sugar Ray Leonard.
I want to say it was Sugar Ray. I think he only had like 2 losses in his entire career. There was one boxer that literally only had like 2 losses.
Yeah, and of course the whole boxing thing, that's, they kind of talk about it in the Rocky movies. It's kind of, I won't say like professional wrestling, but it's.
They're pretty serious.
Well, no, they're serious, but like you've got a small group of people deciding who's the number 1 contender, and that usually is going to be the person who can sell the most tickets. So there's a lot of people, probably the Rocky Balboas, that don't ever get that shot. I just think it's a very skewed system, and it's very discriminatory. Because the boxing promoters are there to make money.
Well, and look at boxing now; it's almost non-existent.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
Actually, boxing is still huge in the Hispanic community.
But the MMA, the Ultimate Fighter,
that has taken over.
Yeah.
Boxing has turned into MMA and UFC.
But I think boxing has kind of done that to themselves, because I don't think
Well, there was so much bad blood and stuff that went on in boxing. Just a lot of bad stuff went on.
I think the ultimate, fighting, what MMA,
UFC. Yeah.
I think they have a lot more integrity as far as boxers moving up in the ranks and, and getting ranked.
Well, because it's the real deal.
Yeah.
You have your wins, and if you have so many wins, then you're up for the contender.
But I think in actual boxing, there's a lot of politics involved, and there's just who can make us the most money.
Yeah, and I think UFC is still pretty new. That politics really doesn't exist, at least not yet.
No, but I'm surprised, because that's with all the money. Because there's big money involved there.
I'd like to see like Mike Tyson and Rampage Jackson get into a fist fight, because when you get a chance, look up Rampage Jackson. He's one of the UFC's best fighters. This guy's he's big.
Oh, I have great respect for all those UFC guys. They're the real deal.
Yeah.
When you're barefisted, going at somebody, that's not quite like boxing.
You take a kick to the head.
Yeah.
and it's all game.
And then you get the submission holds. You got somebody that's cutting your airway off. In some kind of a.
Well, he's 2 times bigger than you. Well, than your average person. You get these big, huge guys on you, and they're just ripping your arm off.
Yeah. So the Mike Tyson thing. The interviewer was a jerk, and he got what he got.
Yeah. Well, I know you have a story. Speaking of going back in time and
kind of a history lesson
Yeah.
kind of a thing.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, actually I do, and we'll kind of tie this into the Africa trip real quick. Of course, with that 17-hour flight, movies were there, and I did get to catch one movie that I've been wanting to see that I hadn't got a chance to see yet, but that was the World War II George Clooney Monuments Men movie. I don't know if you're too much up on that, but it was there again. It's I know we touched on before the Louis Zamperini film that's getting ready to come out in December about him being a Japanese prisoner of war and all that. But this is a World War II story also, based on a true story about this group of men that was sent to Europe to save all the works of art.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not a huge George Clooney fan, but Matt Damon, they're not a huge Matt Damon fan either.
Matt Damon.
but John Goodman was in it, and Bill Murray, and that made
you can't go wrong with Bill Murray.
yeah, and it was so funny because in the very, and this isn't going to spoil anything, but there was one part of the movie at the very first where they tried to get Bill Murray on board with what they're getting ready to do over there in Europe in the war. And he turns around and he looks at George Clooney and Matt Damon, and he goes back. Of course, Bill Murray was in Stripes years ago, and he looks at him and he kind of gets a serious look, and he gives it that salute, and I'm like, it's Stripes. So I know that was some kind of a reference to Bill Murray and Stripes.
I love it when movies do that.
Yeah, I mean, and I caught it, but of course the Germans, Hitler was gathering up all this artwork. Mona Lisa's, Van Gogh's, a lot of religious artwork, and he was hoarding it, and all through the war, and whenever we actually invaded France and the Allies were getting ready to retake Europe, they sent these monuments men in to go in and try to save what art that they could, and it was a cool story.
Yeah, but. Yeah, but that just reminds me, I learned this in college. Hitler was not the first one to do this.
Napoleon did it.
Well, Napoleon did it, and the Catholic Church is guilty of it.
Yeah, that was kind of the spoils of war. See how much plunder the Vikings did it.
Yeah. Well, I think historically unfortunately Catholics are probably the most notorious for going through. I know it's back in the days of probably what's his name? He conquered most of Europe.
Conquered Europe. Attila the Hun, Hannibal.
No, I'm talking. No, Catholics.
Catholic John Kennedy.
Oh yeah, well, whatever. There was a famous Roman Catholic leader. He went through and he took over most of Europe. And while he did that, he got strict orders from the Pope that he was to destroy any other religious propaganda. Essentially, they would go, and if they saw statues of other gods, like whether it was Zeus or any Vikings, they were to destroy everything that they came in contact with.
Wow.
And I know that they've tried to salvage some stuff. They know that they found fragments of stuff over the years, and then of course, it'd be curious to see what all was. I'd just like to see in general what all has been destroyed since we've been creating things.
Yeah, of course, in World War II, of course, we just bombed the time out of the Germans.
Yeah, imagine all the stuff that was lost.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that we just destroyed, and that was kind of one of the big conflicts that they kind of touched on in this movie, was you had all these, military men. They were fighting a war. They were out to kill Germans and save Europe, and they really weren't interested in saving artwork. They wasn't going.
Oh yeah, they were there to win a war.
Yeah, they weren't there. They weren't going to sacrifice any lives to save a painting. They said it wasn't worth it. So these guys, these monuments men, were pretty much on their own. They figured out after they got over there that they had decrypted a message from Hitler. They called it the Nero Decree, which Nero kind of let Rome burn while he fiddled. Kind of like some modern day comparisons. But and that was if it looks like he basically told all of his subordinates, Hitler did, if the war goes south, then destroy all the artwork. And they did actually destroy a bunch of it. They were hiding artwork in mines. They had all these mines throughout Europe, copper mines or phosphorus mines, salt mines, and that's where the Germans hid a bunch of their loot was in these mines. The Americans realized that's where a lot of these valuable pieces of artwork were being hidden, and they were able to get much of it back. And if they could see, a lot of these items were looted from museums. A lot of them were from private collectors. So now you've got all this artwork that had an owner out there somewhere, maybe. So they tried to get what artwork back to their rightful owners as they could, but it was a big thing. And then you had the Soviets were doing the exact same thing, because the Soviets were coming from the other direction in the east, and they were trying to get the whatever gold or artwork they can get their hands on. But in the end, the United States did end up saving much of the European artwork, and I would really like to find the book on this. And of course, being a movie, I'm sure it was. I think George Clooney was quoted to say that it was 80% accurate. So a lot of the stuff was made up.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it was pretty factual. But I would be interested in seeing the book on it and actually reading the real story.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Oh, by the way, I was trying to think of the Roman ruler Charlemagne.
Charlemagne. Okay.
Yeah, that's who I was trying to think of.
Okay.
Oh, and just a little bit of trivia.
Okay.
What famous actor is a direct descendant of Charlemagne?
Martin Short.
No.
Um,
He's a little hint. He was in the Lord of the Rings.
Vito Aragorn. Mortensen.
No, his name was Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee is a direct descendant of Charlemagne.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of trivia for all of you out there. Christopher Lee is really cool. He does a lot of other stuff other than Lord of the Rings movies and stuff. Just look him up. He's a really sophisticated, interesting guy.
He's and he likes heavy metal.
Yes, he does, and he actually has his own heavy metal bands, and I believe he is 92 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, he's getting up there.
Well, listen, let's. What else do we got?
I got a story for all of you. In past podcasts, you've heard us talk about solar storms, solar flares.
Yeah, the solar flare that NASA said that we dodged the bullet back in July of 2012. So.
Yeah. Well, apparently, scientists say that a strong solar storm is likely to miss Earth. I like how it says likely. Likely. So they're not completely saying it's not going to hit us.
And I forget what they actually call it, but see, I think 2014 is a peak year. There are solar cycles, and we are at the very peak of this current solar cycle where we're getting all these solar flares and solar storms.
And of course, the solar flares are coming directly from the sunspots. It's just a big burst of energy coming from
a huge eruption of plasma on the surface of the sun.
Yeah, but pretty much scientists say that the solar storm might affect the Earth a little bit.
Well, and
I mean, they are saying it could make contact with us.
And that's next week that they're predicting it. Sometime next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully it doesn't. We talked in a previous episode about what could happen maybe if we would get hit head on by a solar flare as far as knocking out the electrical grid and all this. But yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, that could be bad stuff. Um, I think we're pretty good on news stories for the most part. I just wanted to run a little bit of something by you.
Sure.
So while you were gone, Carmen and I, we went to the Indianapolis Zoo,
Mm-hmm.
and while we were there, when we pulled up to the zoo, there were protesters outside the zoo.
Okay.
Of course, they were all dressed up in face paint, and they, all that good stuff. They had their signs calling the Indianapolis Zoo murderers and stuff like that. The works.
Okay.
You can't have a modern day protest without murder signs.
Murderers.
So, and I got thinking because it just dawned on me. I was like, I bet they're there protesting that new orangutan exhibit.
Yes, that I know. I had heard on the radio and stuff. They've been really advertising that heavy. The new orangutan exhibit at the Indianapolis Zoo.
And I had talked about this in a podcast that I was going to put up while Dad was gone, but I decided not to put it up because just everything was just not. It just was. I just wasn't feeling it. But in that, I was talking about this, and I wanted to get Dad's opinion on this. So we've talked in the past. Of course, we're making a lot of references to previous episodes here, but we talked about SeaWorld and them holding their in their killer whale
Exhibits
and stuff. Well, so Indianapolis Zoo is kind of having their own little SeaWorld moment here. So we went. So Carmen and I, we drove by the protesters. Waved at them. Said hi. we're gonna go enjoy the zoo. But so we went and we saw the exhibit. I'll post a couple pictures up so you can see if you haven't seen what the building looks like. But it's a big, nice.
I gotta say, you showed me the actual building, and
it's beautiful.
Yeah, it looks like state of the art, very nice.
Architect, someone designed that building. Some architect.
Yeah, I did. I saw the picture of it, and it looked like a really nice addition to the zoo.
Yeah, when you go to that part, you look at it, it's like, oh, wow, that's cool. But so we go in there, and inside the building they had all this artwork, and they had the TV screens, and they had each individual orangutan and them working with them. The orangutans are on little touchscreen computers playing, doing the sign language, and they're specifically talking about those orangutans that they had there, but I looked inside the exhibit and I did not like what I saw.
Really?
Yeah, and I'll post a picture of this too, and I'll let you see for yourself. But all they had in the exhibit was just hay and concrete. And they had a couple ropes hanging from the ceilings.
You're kidding me.
No. I mean, they didn't have any greenery. There was nothing.
Obviously, that was what the protesters were protesting.
Well, probably just them keeping...
Or just in general.
I think just in general. But my deal is, and I'm not going to make this too awfully long because we don't have enough time to get into this completely. But if you go to the zoo between now and however long they're open for the rest of the year, go look at the orangutan exhibit, and you tell me that it doesn't bother you just a little bit.
Yeah, I'd be interested if anybody goes to the zoo, if we can get some feedback on your opinions of this. I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah, I said my personal opinions. I thought the zoo could have done a lot better. They obviously had the money to build a nice building, and they obviously had. They have some intelligent orangutans. They obviously know that the orangutans are high maintenance, and I think it's pitiful. How the circumstances they're keeping them in.
Well, I know even with my experience at the Exotic Feline Rescue Center, we do as much as we can there as far as enrichment, as the term we use for it. Just so that basically the animals don't get bored, and are in somewhat of a natural environment. Ropes from a ceiling and a concrete floor, I don't think is very natural. There's no outdoor.
They have like a little I mean, I'm talking a little grass area, a little tiny patch of grass area. It's nothing that even looks remotely
and
like their environment.
and this kind of goes back to the SeaWorld kind of controversy. Primates are extremely intelligent,
Especially orangutans.
It's one thing, and of course, so are killer whales. As far as brain sizes,
And capacity to learn.
They both have very highly developed brains. It's not like a gecko. I mean, let's face it, geckos don't have really a lot going on in there.
They're low maintenance. They don't have a lot going on there, but orangutans are smart enough to use computers and learn sign language.
Yeah, so they would they would require more enrichment.
Yeah.
To enrich their lives.
Yeah, and you can I saw some of them. Some of them looked depressed. I mean, some of them looked sad. But but of course, in there you had your other ones that were up there. They were making faces at the kids, pressing their face to the glass. Of course you'll have that.
And I'm sure that the trainers and the the keepers there
are good to them.
Yeah, are good to them and work with them, and I'm sure they have formed bonds and relationships. But that still seems like from what you're describing, a pretty sterile environment, than what they would naturally be in.
Yeah, I just feel they could have done a lot better. And I said, you can, and I would like all of you to go to there and see for yourself and tell us what you think.
And even with the with the little safari, like we were talking about earlier that I went to, just the offense. You want to, when you go to see animals like that at a zoo or something, you want to see them in as natural of an environment as you can, and a fence is a big turn off. And obviously, there's probably not a lot of concrete in Borneo or Java or wherever orangutans are from.
Yeah, they live in forests and jungles.
Yeah, you would think that they would want to portray that, and plus just for the benefit of the animals themselves, they would want to provide that for them.
Yeah,
I would think.
I think that too, but anyway, so I mean, I can kind of see where the protesters are coming from, and. But at the same time, I'm all for preservation of animals.
Yeah, that's kind of a double-edged sword because, of course, orangutan populations are
very low.
Very low. So, and I know the zoos like that, they do a lot to help with the populations. They're captive populations, but still, you are helping to preserve the species. So.
Yep, I agree. Well, everyone, I think that's a show.
All right.
What do you think?
That went by pretty quick, but I enjoyed it. I thought we had some good material.
Yeah, we're still, just a little bit rusty, trying to get back in the swing of this. Dad was still fresh off his vacation.
Yeah, I'm still
off his holiday.
Yeah, off my holiday, as they call it.
Yeah. We're the only ones who say vacation. Americans do. Everyone else says holiday.
Yeah, and they've got me saying holiday now, of course. And when I was over there, they would say, "What are you here for?" "I'm here on holiday." Because you say vacation, they
look at you weird. No, you're there on holiday.
I'm on holiday.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, definitely. Again, if you want to contact us, you can reach us on Facebook, Twitter, and you can also get a hold of us at DanaandTravisShow@gmail.com.
And don't forget to send us your email addresses in a Facebook message on our Dana and Travis Show Facebook page, so we can get you this week's episode.
All right.
So, all right.
Let's wrap this thing up, and until next week,
you be careful now.